Thank you for purchasing our Vertex SD660 digital indicator. This is the terminal layout drawing to be found on the side of your SD660 indicator. The black dots are an indication of the configuration of your SD660. The first place to look is next to input, and you will note that on this particular indicator it is marked for thermocouple. It could be PT100 or linear, which would be either 0 to 10 or 4 to 20 milliamps. Incidentally, it is user configurable between thermocouple and PT100 should you wish to change it. The output on this indicator is shown to be relay. That is the default configuration for most indicators. You may have one which has a solid state relay output or a 4 to 20, but it is unlikely. All the indicators come with one alarm. You can have a second or a third alarm should you so choose. The mains power required is also shown on the label. This particular indicator will work on a voltage of between 90 and 250 volts or AC. Although it says AC, it will work on AC or DC. You can order the indicator configured to run on a low voltage, and although it says 24 volt DC, it will work happily on any voltage between 18 and 32 volts. Again, either AC or DC. The terminals to be used for your mains power supply are terminals 19 and 20 as shown here. The input measuring wires go on terminals 8, 9 and 10. If you are using a thermocouple, that will go on terminal 10 and terminal 9, with terminal 10 being the positive wire. If you are using a PT100, or otherwise known as RTD, the terminals to be used will be terminals 8, 9 and 10. An RTD typically has 3 wires. The one color will go on terminal 8, and the 2 similar colored wires will go on terminals 9 and 10. If your RTD only has 2 wires, then they must go between terminal 8 and 9, and you must put in a small bridge between terminals 9 and 10 for it to measure and work correctly. If you have an analog input signal, typically 0 to 10 volts or 4 to 20 milliamps, that will be connected to terminals 9 and 10, and again the polarity is important. While speaking of input wiring, if you're using a transmitter that will give you a 4 to 20 milliamp signal and it requires a 24 volt DC supply, that has been provided on terminals 3 and 4. But you must bear in mind that the 24 volts supplied on terminal 3 and 4 is a very low powered supply intended only to drive the 4 to 20 milliamp circuit. It cannot be used to switch solenoids or coils or anything else. The output from your indicator is connected to terminals 17 and 18, and this is normally a relay output. So terminal 17 and 18 behave as a simple potential free switch that can be used in your control circuit. If you need, the alarm output is connected to terminal 13 and 14, and again this is simply a switch. If you have chosen to have extra alarms, they will be connected on terminals 11 and 12 and subsequently terminal 15 and 16. The only other terminals that require explanation are terminals 1 and 2, and they are in fact the terminals that you would use if you have chosen to have an RS485 communication fitted to your indicator.